Hello everyone and welcome back. I just got off the train in Tempe and today we're going to test out something a little bit more unorthodox. I am going to test out whether I can actually use just my LED lights under this kind of sun condition. As you can see, it's really sunny today. There's not even a cloud in sight, so I doubt it, but the place I'm going later doesn't really allow flashes, so it kind of puts me in a more uncomfortable situation, but at the same time, I always welcome that. I love myself a good challenge. Anyway, we're going to someplace a little special today, so join me for the ride and let's go suffering. A little context about this place. I have actually been here before. This is nearing the runway 16 right lookout, and it wasn't actually, technically speaking, open at all a few years back. I used my own methods to go in with a friend, but we didn't really actually get any good photos in there because it was all walled off. There were still more fences inside, and I really wasn't a fan of just, going over more fences. However, I think the government might have gotten sick of all these people just cutting holes in fences and just going in no matter what. So now it's opened, refurbished into a, what do you call this exactly? A walkway, a bicycle lane? But yeah, now people can actually go in, but there's still more fences around the more critical stuff. However, I'm not here for that, I'm here for the planes. So hopefully this goes well. I know there's a lot of bikes in here, so it's going to be a populated place. All for the best. Let's keep going. After 30 minutes of walking from the station, welcome to runway 16 right lookout. Now this is the quote-unquote, well, lookout here. You're supposed to just look at planes because technically speaking you can't really go over any of these fences, and I prefer not to. I do not want to be arrested just for the sake of one photo. This is actually a pretty difficult spot to shoot if you can't tell. All of it is, how should I say this? It's all perpendicular because the runway is that way, so right along this hand like this, and everything else is along this direction. So it's completely at a right angle, and I'm not sure what I can do. I've figured out one thing so far, but I don't know how I can blend this in with different aircraft, or can I even get a side profile of the aircraft? You'll understand what I mean when I eventually do the photo. I'm actually standing around the location where I want to, but I am not too sure. One extra thing though, if you would say, hey, why not just go in there? You can't, because you would get arrested. Last time I sneakily came up here, I really wanted to go onto this thing right here. That thing over there, yeah, that one. But I really didn't want to go over under the fence, which didn't technically have a bigger hole inside it, and I couldn't really squeeze past with all my gear, so I decided pretty much, nah, maybe not, because there is a better spot back in Hong Kong. It's this one right here. Yeah, the plane photo, I really like that one, but I don't know if this one would look any better or for the worse. So let's get some B-roll in, and I'll see if I can actually get the shot. After looking around for a bit, I have finally decided on this shot. Now, this looks the best, I would say, in this entire location because I get to see the red and white landing light. The one behind you, I'll show some B-roll right now. I don't know what it's called, but there's a lot of them and I want to show them in a photo. And I will perhaps, maybe, Photoshop a plane inside it, the photo, and see if I can get it really low at the same lighting angle. So I'll perhaps porch over there and see if I can get one plane at this angle taking off and maybe put it really low to 7200. That's hopeful thinking, but hopefully I do actually get it. If not, I will probably find something online. It pretty much works the same way anyway. Enough rambling, let's take a look at what I'm using. 7200 at a little bit over 70mm. I think it's around 85 at let me check. 5.6 for a little bit more control of the background. I originally wanted f8, however, it seems a bit too clear for my liking, so 5.6, good enough. Vertical composition. Now, this is a little bit different because I originally wanted to use horizontal. It's just that vertical kind of gives the whole photo more emphasis. Emphasis on the doll, emphasis on the red and white pole at the back, and perhaps just that little bit angle of plane. So maybe the landing gear, maybe the engine, and maybe the wing. So not so much of the fuselage, not so much of everything else, but you will know it's a plane. So there's that. Now, one thing of note is that the doll is actually, as you can see, higher than me. Now, this is risky, but thankfully, today is one of the few days in Sydney that it's not bloody windy. So as you can see, everything is relatively stable, but I did put a lot of boot tack under the boot, so hopefully that holds up. I'm not really concerned about anything else here. However, I do not get to use any lights here. Well, maybe one, just right under here or so, shining up to the doll. So yeah, should work fine, I feel like. So without further ado, let's take a look at the shot. I don't know how it looks, so editing me, add some thoughts down below. I hope I actually got the Photoshop plane in the shot. Hopeful thinking. But either way, I think that's enough for this place. I'll maybe do some B-roll, and I think I need to walk over that way because I am not a fan of walking the same way back to the same station. So I just got done with the shot, and as you can see right now, I'm walking back a little bit to maybe get a better angle for the landing or taking off planes. Hopefully I do get something because I'm not sure if I can get enough distance because I really don't want to walk that far back because look at that, that's as far as I will go because I need another 30-minute walk later to get to the next train station, and there is pretty much nothing in between. It also stinks a bunch here, and it actually does stink of actual shit because I do think these are sewage pipes, so it is going to be pretty bad, but all for the best for the photo, right? Hopefully I get the plane. If not, you're going to see a badly photoshopped plane, but I do hope I don't need to do that. Anyway, I'll put some B-roll of me trying to hunt for a plane. It's been a solid 15 minutes since I've been standing here, so I got fed up. I put down my bags, I put down my gear, and I'm just here waiting. According to flight radar, there is one Cathay Pacific Boeing 777 taxiing towards the end of the runway. I'm not sure it's going to take off at this direction, so that's going to be the last one I'm waiting for. Any more is just not worth it, and I'm going to proceed towards Mascot after this. That is a 30-minute walk, and I hope to get there slightly early so I can at least refuel my drinks and everything, a whole 9 yards basically. Hopefully it actually takes off in the correct direction. Yeah, still at the end of the runway. I can still see it here. That means it's not far enough. Hopefully it goes all right and I get the photo, but yeah, as with these videos, nothing really goes right, so all for the best, I guess. So I actually did wait for the 777 to fly over. However, I think I was a little bit too close to get a side profile. Unfortunately, kind of got the belly instead, so I'm not too sure how it's going to work. Ah, another plane. So it's right behind me. I don't know if you can see that. It's taking off, it's really loud, you can definitely hear that. Here we go. And overhead now. It's less than 150 meters from the ground, so it's really close. Hopefully you can actually hear me. And so right above, holy shit. Yeah. But I'm not sure about the side profile part, so I might try and maybe see through my archives and maybe see if I can have other planes that I took before and put them in instead. If not, I do have little idea that I will do, but I'm sure the photo looks fine. So without further ado, it's going to be a 30-minute walk towards Mascot Station, so let's get going. Just had my drink, got off the ferry, feeling a lot better, and we are at Wilson's Point. I'm going to Mary Booth Lookout, which is slightly to the east side, and hopefully I can get a sunset photo there. It shouldn't be too difficult, but I am slightly concerned that there is going to be quite a lot of people. Seeing it is a weekend, and I am not exactly really happy about that. Hopefully everything goes right. Whenever I say that, everything doesn't, so all for the best. I still need to set up everything there. Should take a little bit of time, so the timing should be perfect. Let's go. This is Mary Booth Lookout, and if I were to be honest with you, it's okay. It's not anything that special. It does give us a very good angle with the sunset and the Sydney Harbour Bridge. However, something inevitably has to go wrong. It's quite high tide today, that's all I can think of, and the waves are actually covering up most of this platform right under me. And I'm not exactly a very big fan of putting my doll in these situations. You know how allergic I am to water and to sand, and this kind of, I wouldn't say ruin it, but kind of makes the chances a bit worse. So I'm thinking of maybe trying this platform instead, because I know it's still wet, but maybe with a slightly lesser chance of everything, you know, getting hit by water, seeing as it's a new doll, so I don't want to ruin it right off the bat, you know? But yeah, I think I'll change it out and maybe try out the 7200 or maybe around 35 first, because I do want to do a wider angle shot instead of just, you know, concentrating everything into little bits. I do not have much time before the sun actually goes down too much, so let's have a race with that. Let's go. Setting up this shot took me way longer than it should have, and I'll be honest with you, this spot might look easy, but what lies below the surface is an extremely difficult situation, and as I expected, the waves are getting more and more stronger. I don't know if it's because the rising tides or is it because of the ferries going everywhere. But if I were to put my setup, you know, all the way here, I feel like some waves might have hit me, and most importantly, my whole setup, which I'm not a fan of. I don't know if you can tell that. But either way, enough rambling, let's take a look at this shot, because God, this took me way too long. 15 to 35 at 35mm, Vertical composition. I originally wanted to use, again, horizontal like this morning, but unfortunately this just doesn't look right. I tried out horizontal, but it was lacking focus. The whole shot was a little bit too much in a lot of ways, and vertical lets me concentrate on the doll itself, and also because of the harbor bridge, yes, there is a little bit of sky in the background which makes it a little bit less concentrated, but at the same time I feel like this is better. Anyway, f4.0 for a little bit more bokeh, because I do not want the steel beams in the background to just basically jabbing into the head. I don't know if you know what I mean, but I'll show it in the B-roll. 2 flashes, yes, flashes finally, because this morning I'm at the airport runway and you can't exactly do flashes there. So 2 flashes, one over here, one, yeah, taking in sweet time on the back of my backpack over there. And they're basically pointed right up against the eye because it is very backlit here. You might not be able to see from the footage because dynamic range is pretty good, but it's actually really backlit. So this is going to be a heavily stacked photo. I expect around 5 or 6 photos to get it at least somewhat good looking. And also the face itself has to be an extra layer, but maybe I'll cover stacking in a different video. So let me know if you want to see that. Anyway, one more light on top of the camera, on top of the flash trigger, and all seems fine. I at least feel that's fine. And it's relatively stable. The only risk factor here is that the violin itself is held up by a magnet with, you know, the, what do you call that? The chopstick stand I mentioned quite a while ago. It's kind of stable, but at the same time, it's just leaning towards the doll. I'm just really afraid it might fall over and tug everything down. But seems all right for now, so let's take a look at the shot. I would say looks decent for what it is. I might wait a little bit longer and see if I can get a bit more orange blue tones, you know, more closer to sunset instead of just now. But I am honestly not confident. There's no clouds in the way. There's no reflections in the sky today to make it more orange than it seems. And plus Lightroom always works like a treat. I can just, you know, and do that instead. So I guess it's time to pack up and wrap up the video. So we've arrived at the end of the video. Flashes or LEDs, which is it gonna be? And I'll be honest with you, if you've watched this point of the video and you still don't know the answer, I don't really think you've been paying attention. I use flashes for a reason, because they can concentrate output into one spot and they can increase the output however they want to in outdoor brightly lit conditions. I use flashes to the point so much that even if it's indoors and, you know, kind of dark, I still prefer using flashes because they're just so neat. I'm not saying that LEDs can't do the job. Whenever the situation requires to, you know, if the situation might lead me into trouble, I will 100% go for LEDs. But what I'm saying is, yeah, flashes all the way for me. Keep this in mind, I can afford to use LEDs in a lot of situations because I do a lot of stacking, because I bring out an insanity amount of tripods. 2 big ones, 1 medium one, and 2 small ones. Small ones right here, you don't see them often because they're under the flash or the light. And I'm not saying you shouldn't stack, but you would need a lot more to afford to do stacking because it's a tedious process. I might cover that in another video, but let me know if you want to see it. However though, there is one caveat to using these flashes. It is the size and what you need to bring with them. Because if you bring 2 flashes, you not only need 2 flashes, you need the tripod's base, you know, the whole thing needs somewhere to stand. And this thing itself, even without anything, is pretty big. And you would need AA batteries. I know some flashes don't use AA batteries, they use lithium ion, but that's not my point. What I'm saying is, you need AA batteries. 4 of them, and you need 4 more because, you know, you need backup batteries and you need a charger for these batteries. So the list just keeps spiraling on and on and on and on. And if you compare it to an LED size, which is right here, look at this, compared to this, and not to mention this. It's thin, it's small, it uses the same port that, you know, charges my bloody phone, so I don't need an extra charger. I can just use the same cable, use the same charger, and voila, we're done. So maybe for trips that, you know, you need to go to another country where your luggage is limited, use an LED. Bring 2 or 3 of them, I don't care. They won't take up too much space and they are pretty good. Plus, you can get away with a lot of, you know, LED battle situations if you do this good enough, but I don't have that confidence, which is why I like using this. But yeah, if not for these things having a lot of ports and, you know, being so small, this all the way, but at the same time, this is more of a complementary thing for me. I would prefer this all the way. So flashes, yes. LEDs, yes, and also no. That's a short answer for you. Anyway, thank you very much for watching the very end of this absolutely horrible video. Like and subscribe if you want to see more. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you use, flash or LEDs, or tell me if I'm wrong, you know. and I will see you in the next video. Lemon out.